Kind of interesting to note that The Boys Are Back in Town was not on that list, right? And the only reason it made it onto the album is one of our managers, Chris O'Donnell.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of That Sound Podcast. And if you love music, you are in the right place. Today we are going to talking about Jailbreak by Thin Lizzy. What an album. This, of course, is the breakthrough album from the band. They broke America with this. Let's have a quick look at the artwork by Jim Fitzpatrick, of course. It was kind of made on the theory to give a nod to Marvel characters. I think Jim was a fan of the Marvel comics, and especially this guy up here really resembles a Marvel superhero, of course, and the Jailbreak team with the guys running. Very, very cool. Of course, the lineup, the classic four: Brian Robertson, Scott Gorham, Phil Lynott, and Brian Downey, of course. Tracks: Jailbreak, Angel from the Coast, Running Back, Romeo and the Lonely Girl, Warriors, The Boys Are Back in Town, Fight or Fall, Cowboy Song, and Emerald. Really, really love this one. The album was released on March 26, 1976, and of course was recorded with John Alcock in Rampart Studios in London. The album reached number 18 in the Billboard 200 in the US, and it reached number 10 in the UK album charts. And of course, this was the only Thin Lizzy album to get certified gold in the US, and for good reasons. This album was the last roll of the dice by the label, Vertigo and Mercury. After the first couple of albums, they were told it's kind of make or break time with this album. I think the previous album, Fighting, really had some really, really, really great tracks in it. Arguably, this album right now and Fighting, it's a toss-up for me, to be honest. I really think Fighting was an absolutely brilliant album. I think if they had got maybe more publicity, maybe more of a push, Fighting might have got them on the map quicker than this album. But this was definitely one that pushed them over the edge, pushing into that US market. This album was recorded in over just 3 months. That's all it was from what they went into the studio. I believe it was in December, early December to like February, late February. And the band were not overly happy with the production on this. I think Scott Gorham was not happy with the guitar tone on it. And some session musicians were brought in to give that an extra flavour to the album, to jazz it up more by John Alcock. And I don't think the band were overly happy with that decision by the producers. So do you think it helped the band or do you think it hindered the band? Was that raw production on Fighting a better fit for the band, or this kind of more polished feel for Jailbreak? Which one do you prefer? So let's get into the tracks. Again, this album opens with a banger, Jailbreak.
Jailbreak somewhere in this town. See me and the boys, we don't like it, so we're getting up and going to home. I know, looking right to left.
I love the DNA of Thin Lizzy. Nearly every album opens with a hard punching guitar fest. Jailbreak does not disappoint at all. Jailbreak hits from the start. It has the groove. It has the dual guitar again, it has the story that we talked about. I feel like I'm repeating myself all the time on these albums, but Phil's delivery, Phil's story, I really feel like the sirens especially, you feel like you're in a movie. You feel like you're with the guys breaking out. The emotion of the drumming as well, that breakdown bit, you almost feel like that's your heartbeat, and the cops are chasing you with the dogs and you're running. They were so good at creating an atmosphere with the song. It's a very, very good song. It was one of the first ones that I got myself when I was a young kid. I remember getting the greatest hits, Wild One, and I remember hitting Jailbreak for the first time, and it blew my mind. What a track. Another track I'd like to talk about is Running Back. This was one of the tracks that I spoke about earlier that John Alcock brought in other members to kind of jazz it up. Tim Hinckley was brought in to play keys on this track, and I know that Brian Robertson was not happy about this at all. He really kind of threw a hissy fit about this and was not happy about this extra flavour, this extra polishing that the band got on this track especially, and I believe he might even be credited on this one. And now, a word from our sponsors.
We are absolutely delighted to announce that we have All Kings Competitions on board as a sponsor for Season 3 of That Sound podcast.
All Kings are Ireland's original and best online competition website.
From Ferraris to houses to cash to luxury holidays and everything in between, All Kings have got you covered at great prices, great value. They can't be beat.
Check out All Kings on all social media platforms.
Thank you.
Romeo and the Lonely Girl is another brilliant track. Again, the storytelling. Phil, I really feel like he takes a lot of these personal relationships in his own life and he puts them into these songs. The first time I heard this, you know, poor Romeo, all on his ownio, I'm like, wow, you kind of cut a few corners there to just get that to rhyme, but it kind of works. And I feel like Scott Gorham really used his West Coast playing, that happy guitar, just very it reminded me of like West Coast guitar music from the 70s, even the 60s kind of stuff. Just happy playing, riffing. Good song though, a really good song, enjoyable. I think it fits well in this album. This album still has that splashes of hard rock, pop rock kind of groove. There's a lot of groove in this album, and there is a little bit of that swing as well on a couple of tracks. But next track up I want to talk about is Warriors. Warriors is quite a deep track. It's kind of referencing the heroin that was around them times when I believe some of the band members were using it. Of course, Phil and maybe Scott as well. But it was a great way of kind of explaining. I know Phil had his problems, and he explains that like the likes of Jimi Hendrix and some of the Allman guys, you know, it wasn't a choice. Like they wanted to ride it out. They were on a quest with this drug, as it seems like they were really pushing it, and they wanted to go out fighting with this thing, and that was their kind of way of explaining why they were doing it, and they were on this ride and they wanted to push it to the edge, which sounds crazy, but that's kind of the way they lived their lives. Like some of the lyrics in this song, you know, I am the warrior, I say of the death machine, losers are conquerors, all flash past my silver screen, death is no easy answer. It's really deep stuff, but the guitar playing is really good. It's a really cool song, and it's one of my favorite on the album. Now we're on to the fan favorite, The Boys Are Back in Town. And it's amazing that I've listened to an interview with Scott Gorham recently, and that this song almost didn't make the album.
It's kind of interesting to note that The Boys Are Back in Town was not on that list, right? And the only reason it made it onto the album is one of our managers, Chris O'Donnell. He says, well, let me hear the demos that you've been doing. You know, just so I know what we're talking about here. He listened to all of them. He was taking notes, and he realized that this song, I think it was called "The Boys Are Back" at this point, right? He goes, why is this "Boys Are Back"? Why is that not on the list to do, right?
They weren't mad on it. I know it was changed and maybe up-tempoed a little bit. I think it was originally a little bit more bluesy. Someone might be able to tell me in the comments, but it was jazzed up a bit. But I think one of the producers or someone involved in the studio said, what about that song, you know, The Boys? I think it was originally called The Boys Are Back just, and then Not Back in Town. But I think the Boys Are Back in Town actually grew legs in America from a DJ that was based in Kentucky or somewhere, and he played it, and another DJ played it, and it really just grew legs in America, and that's the track that everybody knows. Do you know Thin Lizzy? Oh yeah, Boys Are Back in Town. We all know that song, and everybody that knows anything about music, even if they're not Thin Lizzy fans, know this song. To be honest, I think it's, you know, it's one of them songs that every band has, you know, Metallica, Enter Sandman, you know, it's the one that's overplayed. Would I love to have seen the boys play it live once? Yes, but I think if they were around today, it'd be one of them songs that I think you'd be sick of hearing. There's so many better songs. I did say in my last album review I did on Fighting, I think that there is a better song, go back and listen, than The Boys Are Back in Town. But we can't knock it all. The Boys Are Back in Town is brilliant. It's in so many movies, it's in so many TV shows. It is the fan favorite. It's a great track. You know, it has that hook. It has a swing. It's easy to sing along to. I can only imagine what it was like back in the 70s hearing this live. It would have been a blast. It really would have. But I still think you would have got sick of it after a while. Now let's talk about one of my favorites on this album, the Cowboy Song. I love everything about this song. I love the way it starts slow, it grows legs, and it just explodes. Phil wrote this song, of course, and again, it's from personal experiences. He was quoted saying once that it's about him traveling from show to show. You know that famous lyric, I'm just a cowboy, I'm on that lonesome trail. It's him on the trucks going from show to show, you know, mentions the open plains. You can picture maybe Southern America, maybe Texas, you know, New Mexico or somewhere around there doing their tour in the US that time. But yeah, I love the way that it grows legs. You know, it starts as that slow, mournful ballad and then kicks into like hard rock twin guitar harmonies, just electrifying it. Scott Gorham and Brian Robinson on this track, especially flawless. Again, I mentioned Jailbreak being like cinematic. Like this track especially as well gives you that feeling of running around horseback in America, you know, with the sun on your back, just like as a drifter. But when them guitars come in, that's when you give that horse that whack and you're taking off. You know, it's beautiful. A lot of hardcore fans would rank this as one of the best tracks by Lizzy. It was a staple in all their shows back in the day, and a lot of people say that the Live and Dangerous in Philadelphia, the shows that were recorded at this track especially, is one of the fan favorites. Now, we're into the closer. What a closer. Hey, it's Gavin from That Sound Podcast. I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you for listening. It really means the world. This show is a labour of love, but the truth is, it takes a lot to keep it going. Reaching out to guests, recording, editing, it all takes time, and we do it because we care about the music. If you've been enjoying the podcast and want to help us keep it alive, you can support us for just $5 a month over at patreon.com/thatsoundpodcast. For the price of a beer or a cup of coffee once a month, it generally makes a big difference. The show will always be free, but with your help, we can keep building it, episode by episode. Thanks for considering it, and thanks for being a part of this great community. This one right now, Emerald, this is my favourite Thin Lizzy song.
It's a song called Emerald. Here we go. Down from the glen came the marching men with their shields and their swords to fight the fight they believed to be right. Overthrow the overlord. To the town where there was plenty, they brought from the sword and flames. When they left the town, it was empty. The children would never play again.
I mentioned earlier that I got that Wild One CD when I was a kid, and I'll never, ever, ever forget hearing Emerald for the first time. Absolutely blew my mind. The song is steeped in Celtic history, mythology, the lyrics. Phil is basically telling us the story of a war scene from back in Ireland, back in the day, and he brings you along. You join the army with him, and you're in the fight with him. This track here, especially with the twin guitar harmonies, you know, that battle scene, the dueling guitars. It's the most epic guitar playing for me in the 70s by any band. It really shows how they influenced so many bands, especially on this album. Iron Maiden, Deep Purple, Metallica, Motorhead, so many people from this album right here. One of the best ever in the 70s. Thin Lizzy doesn't get enough credit. Does not get enough credit. Do me a favor, put this record on, listen to it again, leave a comment, and tell me why this is one of the best albums of the 70s and the most influential albums of the 70s. I hope you enjoyed that quick review of Thin Lizzy's Jailbreak album. It really is brilliant. I really, really enjoy it. Top of me head, if I was going to pick 1, 2, 3, Emerald number 1. Cowboy Song number 2. Jailbreak number 3. What do you got? Give me your 1, 2, 3. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps. We have a lot more Thin Lizzy albums done and more to do, so go back and check out some of our other ones. We have a lot other show reviews, gig reviews, and again, a great way of supporting the channel if you're enjoying it is hit our Patreon. There's a link in the description. For $5 a month, you can really help this channel grow and expand and get bigger and better for you guys at home. So $5 a month, just one beer. If you met me and say, I like that show, want to buy him a pint, you can buy me a pint. Hit that link. And thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.